Hey there, good afternoon. So, where am I? I am not going to tell you. Feel free to guess down below. There will be various hints along the way, including the language. What is going on with this? I think this isn't going to be an easy one to guess for most people. But if you have been here, of course, you will know. I'm sure that a few people will get it right. So, the reason that I am not telling you where I am now is because, as many of you will know, I was just in Thailand a few days ago. I flew from Ko Samui Island to Bangkok, stayed there for the night, and then caught a flight the next day here. Now, in that video, I decided to keep it a mystery where I was going. And then yesterday, I filmed 2 videos exploring around this city, but I decided that I wanted to post this video after the Thailand series before the other videos, because this video is about my last day in Thailand. So the other videos will be coming soon. So, as you can see in the title, Scam in Thailand. Now, I am not going to proclaim that this was 100% a scam. The reason is because the motorbike that I returned did have some scratches on it. But the scam part is how much they tried to charge me for that. So I will get to that in a few minutes. Need to set things up. I was on Ko Phangan Island a few days ago. Stayed there for 4 days. Rented a motorbike for the whole time. And then at the end of my time there, I had to return it and then catch a boat over to Ko Samui. But first I want to go back to when I got the motorbike. So I took a ferry from Ko Tao to Ko Phangan, arrive at the pier on Ko Phangan, and there is somebody standing there with a sign, motorbike for rent. I walk up to them, ask the price, 300 Thai baht. That is about $8.50. I say, okay, great, let's do it. And they say, hop on this bike. Hello. And we'll go get the bike that I will be renting. So I hop on the back of this other motorbike with my luggage and everything, and we drive a few minutes away and then go to this kind of out of the way house. It's like a really local, like kind of a shack that is back behind this line of other shops. Nothing seems suspicious about it at all. They were just running their motorbike rental business out of their home, and they parked the bikes there. And so we sort of go down this little path and then get to their home in the back there. And then there is the bike waiting there. It is really new looking. And so I ask about the passport situation. Do I have to leave my passport, or can I leave a deposit? On Ko Tao Island, then I was able to leave a deposit of 5,000 baht, about $130, $140, instead of leaving my passport. But on Ko Phangan, or at least at this place, and she said elsewhere as well, then you have to leave your passport, period. And you need a bike to get around. You can't, rely on taxis or whatever. It was essential. So I had to leave my passport. But I have 2 valid passports. So I take out my other passport. Now, the deal with the 2 valid passports, for those who know that I was born in Canada, I am a Canadian citizen. No, I do not have a valid Canadian passport. I got one way back in 1999. It was only valid for 5 years and expired in 2004. So that is not the passport that I am referring to. Instead, in 2014, I got a new US passport, valid for 10 years, but I made a little mistake in that I didn't get the larger booklet. You can get the regular passport, or you can get the passport with twice as many pages, 50 pages. And so what happened with that passport is that I filled it up in, I think, 4 years. And so I renewed that passport. It's valid through 2024. So it is still a valid passport. They didn't punch the holes in it like they do normally when you send in your old passport. And so I got a new passport in 2018, which is the one that I'm traveling with. And so I travel with the other passport because my Indian visa is in there. I have a 10-year Indian visa, valid for 10 years. You can use it for 6 months at a time. And so previously, then I had tried to do the little trick of giving places demanding a passport for deposit, giving them my older passport that I didn't actually use to enter the country. But I don't think that it had ever worked in the past, because they start flipping through the pages looking for the stamp for when you enter the country that I'm in. And once they do that, then you have to say, well, the stamp is in my other passport, and then give it to them. I tried that this time and it worked. I gave her the old passport. She didn't look through it for the stamp. She hides it away somewhere, and so I'm stoked that I have my valid passport, and that is less of a stress in case anything goes wrong, which turned out to be very irrelevant with what happened later. So I take off with the bike, enjoy Ko Phangan for 4 days, return 4 days later, all packed up with all my stuff, with just enough time to return the bike and then walk over, or get a ride with them or whatever, over to the pier and catch a boat to Koh Samui to then catch my flight the next day to Bangkok. So I drive down that little trail to their house, and as I'm approaching, then I see the lady sitting there, and as I am driving in, she like zeroes in on the bike right away, like before I stopped or anything, and she's like really focused in on the bike. And then I park it and she's like looking all over the place, and she's like pointing to some scratches, which I hadn't even noticed. I had never had any accident, didn't drop the bike, didn't scrape it as far as I knew against anything. There had been no problems on my part. But then she's like going all over it and pointing at this and pointing at that, and looking at like the edges where I can't see anything. And she's saying, like, basically you scratched the bike. And then she pulls out this sheet that has an image of the motorbike with numbers and stuff. And it is basically saying how much a person has to pay if they damaged a certain part of the bike. So she points at one of the numbers and it says 3,200 baht. That is $90. So she's asking me to pay $90 because of a couple of scratches. These scratches were like this long, like this wide. There was like 2 of them, which I wasn't even sure if they had been there before or not. So, an important tip when renting motorbikes, cars, etc. is take a video of it, going around showing the condition of the vehicle. Now, I had done this when I had rented the bike in Ko Phangan. I thought that I hadn't done this when I rented the bike there on Ko Phangan. So I didn't think about checking the video that could have been on my phone. Partly it was just kind of a chaotic situation, but as it turns out, that video wouldn't have helped me. So it turns out I did actually make a video of the bike there on Ko Phangan, which I found out later. Let's head down this way. When I saw it on my phone. So I'm going to show the video now. Looks good. It looks new. So as you can see, it is in very good condition, and I even say in the video, it looks new. And I couldn't see those scratches that were on the bike when I returned it. So somehow it does seem that the bike got scratched. Now, parking a motorbike on Ko Phangan Island or in Thailand in general, they are not like this. Ooh, got a little street art. So they park them parallel, all up next to each other, very close, and then when you tip the bike over to put it on the stand, it leans over, then it can kind of rub up against another bike. And so that is the only thing that I can think of that might have caused this. Or who knows, while it was parked there, what somebody else might have accidentally done. But anyways, very, very minor little scratches. She was kind of pointing down at the bottom of the bike as well, acting like, well, it looks like it, fell over or was scraped all along the side or something, and I just didn't see anything there at all. The only thing that was clear was these 2 little scratches. This is why I'm not saying 100% this was a scam, because there was some minor damage to the bike, and she wanted $100. Now, for those saying, okay, so what's the big deal? Just pay the $100. You damaged the bike. So, all motorbikes that you rent in Thailand are going to have scratches on them. Like, they all have scratches on them. That is just what happens. You can look at this one, scratch there. This is like basically what it was. It was like something like that. I mean, barely noticeable. That is normal wear and tear. And then the amount that she was asking for was kind of crazy. So let's do a little math on this, because keep in mind, this is Thailand, not France or Canada or the United States or Australia. It is Thailand, where things are very cheap. So the motorbike rental was 300 baht, or $8.50 a day. She wanted 3,200 baht, which is $90 US. So basically, she was asking me for 10 days worth of rental in comparison to how much it costs to rent the bike. Now, I looked online, I was curious, like how much is a motorbike to rent in the United States? So I looked online and found somewhere in, I think it was Miami, and the motorbikes were 85 bucks a day. And I'm not sure if that is the final price, probably not. I'm sure you can find motorbikes to rent somewhere in the United States for less than that, but that's what I found online. So let's just go with $85 even. 10 days rental is what she was asking me for to cover the cost of those scratches. So do $85 by 10. If I was in the United States, I rented the bike for 85 bucks and then brought it back. There's a couple of scratches on it and they say, okay, you need to pay $850. When you put it in that perspective, you realize how outrageous it is to ask for that much money for a couple of scratches. And so basically I got in an argument with her. I mean, it started off, fairly calm, just saying like, you can just paint over. Keep in mind that, her English is a little bit, but not great. You can just, a little black paint will cover that up, and cost you a couple cents. And then she calls somebody and starts talking on the phone with them in Thai. And a few minutes later, a guy shows up on a motorbike and pulls in there, and this was probably who she was talking with. And he's kind of serious. Again, limited English. But then he's saying like, no, I can't just paint it. I have to replace the whole panel. And so that's why it's going to cost 3,200 baht. Okay, let's try to go inside here. Another clue here with the language. Look at that, like, there's that, and then there's that. Now I know what language that is, but not gonna tell you. And so I am feeling like, I'm fully being scammed, ripped off, taken advantage of, and getting more and more frustrated about the thing, especially considering that I have a boat to catch. I don't have time to be, dealing with this situation. If they wanted like 15 bucks, okay, fine. And so I offer like 500 baht, and they aren't going to go for that. And then I say 1,000. Basically, I got a little pissed off there, shall we say, and finally they come back and say 1,500. That is $42 US. And so at that point I just say, okay, fine, take it. I have the baht in cash. Give it to them, and then the lady says like, do you want to ride over to the pier basically? And I say no, I'm out of here, and I just walk out of there. They hand me my passport, of course. So I could have just, left, because as I said, they didn't have my passport that I needed to leave the country. But that passport has my Indian visa in it, and it is still valid for another, I forget, at least a number of years anyways, I forget. But that is worth a lot more than $42 plus the hassle of having to leave my passport at an embassy and wait for it to come back, etc. And then also just the passport has sentimental value. It is a souvenir essentially of my travels. I have all of my passports that I have gotten in the course of all of my travels, and it would be a shame for one to be missing. So it was worth paying the $42, and also just to fully clear the situation. If I just said screw you guys and walked out of there, leaving the passport with them and not paying them anything, then they might have gone to the police. In fact, they probably would have. Now, the police would have looked through the passport and not found a stamp, but still, it has my name, my birth date. They could have filed a report, and then I go to leave Thailand and I get flagged, and they say, okay, you have a different passport number, but same name, you look the same birth date, you're the guy. So I could have still gotten, pegged for that. So, $42 is annoying, but that is far from a big deal and fully worth resolving that and being able to get out of there, not having something big to stress about, being stopped, trying to leave, questioned by authorities, possibly missing that flight, etc. So that's what happened, and I'll leave it up to you guys to tell me, what do you think? Was that a full-on scam, or a fair price to pay for some scratches on a motorbike in Thailand? Let me know what you think. All right, that is it for this video, and that is it for this trip. More than 8 months of traveling to 22 or 23 countries. I just booked a flight today, flying back to the United States. It was a tough decision because I will just tell you where I have a flight booked to from here tonight in a few hours. Manila, Philippines. I was seriously thinking of going to Boracay, even though I know it's super touristy, but never seen it, and it would have been nice to have spent 5 days or whatever just lounging on the beach there and catching up with the videos that I now have to edit from here. But I'm just done. I just want to get back to the US. I have things to do there. And looking at the flight situation, getting to Manila, Philippines. From there, it's a flight to Boracay, and then a flight back to Manila, and then more flights to get back to the US. I'm, headed that direction. I've been headed that direction for a while. It was just a matter of where I was going to stop along the way. And so it was a really tough one to decide to skip Boracay, but I just decided I'm ready to finish this trip. So my flight tomorrow, I'm taking the flight today to Manila from here, a couple hours, and then I have a flight in the morning back to Portland, Oregon, where I started this trip back in May. And then I have plans in place for what I'm doing from there. So that is the end of the trip, but not the end of the videos. There are actually, let's see, I think 4 videos coming next about getting here and then exploring this very interesting city. Here, a nice square. Let's finish it off with, oh, this actually might be a temple that I wanted to see. Look at this. So, a great way to end this video. Okay, I can't show you that sign right there because it has the name of the city. All right, let's walk in here. Wow, really, really interesting. Look at this carving on this rock. It appears to be a ship. Yeah, definitely. All right, that is all for now. More coming from wherever I am.